Tonight, I'm going to do a very, very brief introduction, but get out of your way because we've got some fantastic talks lined up. Just to tell you a little bit more about ourselves and the event, this is an event that we organise in collaboration with Finos. So I'm the CTO of Scott Logic. If you don't know us, we're a UK-based software consultancy. If you want to find out more, there's a few of us around. Come and ask. We organise this in collaboration with Finos, which is FinTech Open Source Foundation. They are part of Linux Foundation, so they're an organisation that helps foster open source collaboration within financial services organisations, trying to get banks to work together. Good luck to them. As I said, I'm going to be keeping this very brief. The first thing I want to do is say thank you to LSEG for hosting us, and I'm going to invite Johnny up on stage to talk a little bit about LSEG. Then you hear from me for a few minutes, and then we've got some fantastic talks. So I'm just going to invite Johnny up on stage.
Me and Colin had agreed to have a race to see who could say the least, and he's set a high bar, but I'll try my best. But welcome to LSEG. It's great to have people here for what I think is the first Finos event of the year, at least in the UK. Or in London, certainly. A small apology for those that spent their time entering the building looking for a giant bell. There isn't one, unfortunately. We've moved on as a company in terms of technology, and actually we're quite a bit more diverse than just a stock exchange these days. So I'm just going to play a short video and then talk a wee bit about why open source is important for us and why we're keen to get more involved in this space. We're not a bank, so I think we're in a unique position to help people work together as well.
Do you want me to press the button?
Click the button, Colin, thanks.
In the world of finance, names can be a bit misleading. Take ours, for instance. Pronounced LSEG, aka London Stock Exchange Group. Sure, we're in London, but we're also here, and here. In fact, we do business in 190 countries. We're practically everywhere, except here. Well, not yet anyway. We're proud to be one of the world's biggest, most international stock exchanges, connecting capital with ideas for centuries. But that's just part of what we do. Today, we connect the news, information, insights, and systems to create possibility across the markets, partnering with almost every major financial firm in the world. You see, others do some of what we do, but not everything we do. Instead of LSEG, we could have called ourselves the London and practically every other place in the world stocks, bonds, currency, data, analytics, indices, risk management, clearing, exchange, multi-asset class group. But that's a little wordy. LSEG.
Yeah, so look, we're an incredibly diverse company. I'm fairly new to the company as well. And when I joined, for example, the dev team where I work was in 39 countries, so we're everywhere. Our customers are everywhere. We provide all sorts of capabilities to the financial markets. And we're fundamentally, I think, a technology company, and having worked in banks for a long time, it was fairly trendy to say, we're not a bank, we're a technology company. I finally feel now that I don't work at a bank, it's even more possible to say that, if I'm perfectly honest with you. We depend on open source every day of the week, like everyone else does. Everything we build has got some form of it inside it. And equally, actually, I think we've got a great track record of contributing to open source projects, albeit I think we could be a wee bit more vocal and part of a wider community in terms of how we do that. One of the nicest things about hosting the event tonight, actually, and something that we'll take forward as a firm, is the number of customers that reached out looking to get, off the waiting list into the building. I felt like some sort of doorman trying to get people onto that waiting list, but even for me it was a struggle. But it's great to see customers, new faces, and I've even seen a few faces that I've not seen in quite a long time. So once again, welcome to LSEG. Look forward to having a few drinks after and listening to some great content. Please come and find me, and happy to have a conversation about anything you hear here tonight. On to the next speaker.
Cheers, Johnny. Thanks, Johnny. We're 7 minutes ahead of schedule, so I better say a few more things. No, I do, just to tee us up for the talks, I do want to say just a few quick things about AI as a subject in general. I just want to tell you the 4 things that excite me the most about AI technology and some of the advances that we've had quite recently. I mean, if you've not been paying attention, I think some of the biggest developments we've seen in the past few years is, firstly, the models that we're seeing now are quite general purpose. Historically, if you wanted to do sentiment analysis or named entity recognition, typically you'd pick a model off the shelf, or you'd train a particular model for that purpose. These days, we have models where you can ask it to do a thing and it will do it for you. They are incredibly versatile. So that's one of the things that I think has made AI suddenly accelerate. The next thing is the APIs are now human language. Historically, if you were using an AI model, you either had to be a Python developer or befriend a Python developer. And they're quite friendly, but it was an obstacle. Whereas these days, the API of AI is human language, which has opened it up to the entire world to play with and experiment with. So we've got general purpose models that now have a human language API, and I think those two coupled together are what have made AI suddenly accelerate in the past few years. But even more interesting things happened last year, to my mind. The first thing is, you've probably heard of the notion of the emergent reasoning capability. What people discovered was these models are able to, within some sort of loose interpretation, they are able to reason, they are able to problem solve, which is pretty amazing. Another thing that happened pretty much last year was the use of tools. We now have relatively versatile ways of plugging these AI models into a suite of tools, whether that's a calculator or whether that's a Google search or whether that's an IDE, effectively, so that it can write Python code itself. And if you take a step back, that combination, reasoning and the use of tools, when I think about that, I think, hang on, isn't that what elevated the human species above most of the other species on this planet? Our ability to reason and use tools. So I'm just going to leave you there with that little kind of thought exercise. To my mind, if 2023 knocked your socks off, 2024 is going to blow your mind. I think it's going to be even bigger than we anticipate.